After an experience an individual may consider extreme or life-threatening, experiences that they perceive as similar may cause major emotional breakdowns or deviations, or, as defined by the National Institute for Mental Health, an anxiety disorder that some people develop after seeing or living through an event that caused or threatened serious harm or death. People have been going through traumatic events from the beginning of recorded history and before. Imagine being a soldier in the army of Hannibal fighting against the Romans in the Battle of Cannae. The battle was truly decided when Hannibal's troops had the remaining 50,000 Romans surrounded. But there was still a lot of work to do. All of these 50,000 Romans had to be killed. Killing was done face to face, by hand. The battle back then was personal. Quoting Appian, begun after the second hour of the day and ending within 2 hours of nightfall. The smells of combat and death permeated the air. Phobos truly ruled the battlefield. There were stories of men being found who had buried themselves head first just to escape the horror of what was going on around them. Even though ancient armies were expected to be mass murderers and killers on the day of the battle, marching around day to day, they were relatively safe. Killing today doesn't have to be up close and personal. Technology gives soldiers the ability for mass killing from a distance. While Hannibal's soldiers and the Romans were in danger on the days of their battles, today's soldiers are in danger all the time. And it doesn't matter if you're using a sword or a rifle, combat is stressful. Even Shakespeare knew the mental weight associated with battle. In his play King Henry, Lady Percy describes PTSD symptoms.
Oh, my good lord, why are you thus alone? For what offence have I this fortnight been a banished woman from my Harry's bed? Tell me, sweet lord, it's that takes from thee thy stomach, pleasure, and thy golden sleep. Why dost thou bend thine eyes upon the earth, and start so often when thou sitt'st alone? Why hast thou lost thy fresh blood in thy cheeks, and given my treasures and my rights of thee to thick-eyed musing and cursed melancholy?
So this is nothing new. Even though it was not until 1980 that PTSD was formally recognized by name and symptoms, it has always been with us. While combat is an obvious stressor, there are many others. According to the National Institute for Mental Health, not everyone who has PTSD experiences a dangerous event. Some people get PTSD after a friend or family member experiences danger or harm. The sudden, unexpected death of a loved one can also cause PTSD symptoms. The National Institute for Mental Health recognizes that PTSD can result from any psychological trauma. Other things we consider obvious stressors with long-term effects include domestic violence, rape, and child abuse. Some stressors are not so obvious. Each of us are individuals and have different influences on our lives. What may be traumatic for one person can sometimes be considered trivial to another. Fame, to many, is seen as positive, but there are downsides. The lack of privacy ranks high on the list. Coupled with public expectations, celebrities are constantly criticized and forced into molds which they may not fit. Bullying makes the headlines almost daily, with accounts of students attempting retribution or committing suicide. Imagine how many must suffer in silence, dreading just going to school every day. Once dismissed by some as part of growing up, teachers and parents are seeing far-ranging effects of bullying inside of school and out. So post-traumatic stress disorder can strike anyone. Symptom experiences can vary widely, but usually stay within three main archetypes. Re-experiencing symptoms, meaning nightmares, dreams, flashbacks, and thoughts of the traumatic event. Avoidance symptoms, meaning people, places, things, and even avoiding feelings or memories associated with the event. Hyperarousal symptoms, being easily started, tense, on edge, or not sleeping well. As with most mental disorders, exact causes and cures are still in the future. Right now our main treatments are psychotherapy and medications. Unfortunately, medications are hard to prescribe because everyone is different. But there is good here as well. As Mr. Rogers' mom would tell him, look for the helpers. And there are a lot of them helping with PTSD. Support is everywhere. No matter the trauma, you are not alone.
Thy stomach, pleasure, and thy golden sleep, why dost thou bend thine eyes upon the earth, and start so often when thou sitt'st alone? Why hast thou lost thy fresh blood in thy cheeks, and given my treasures and my rights of thee to thick-eyed musing and cursed melancholy?